Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about, Jalen Johnson's comment to Caleb Williams about, how you can't bring that Hollywood stuff. That little snippet is definitely slightly misleading because it sounds like he just is kind of, being a little aggressive towards him, especially if you're just reading it. But if you actually see the interview, you can see that it's like slightly more tongue-in-cheek, as well as him saying like, we want to see you succeed, so come on. But I think it was one of the dumbest comments you could ever make. Truly. I think it's just so stupid and so dumb. And apparently it's because, a lot of that locker room really did like Justin Fields. I just think it's a dumb comment to make. You want Caleb Williams to feel like the leader instantly, not like that he has to, I know technically you have to earn it to a degree, but you need to, it should be easy for him to be able to earn that. He is the #1 overall pick. He is supposed to lead this team to true greatness, and to now just give this arbitrary, you gotta, you can't bring this Hollywood stuff here. Like, I don't even really know what he's even necessarily implying. Like, it's just so you're already setting up this weird, presence there. Like, it's just you're creating this false issue, this false mirage of things, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. There's nothing to gain from it. If he wants to maybe say that to him one-on-one, maybe, but even that's weird because you're already creating this since Johnson's already in the Bears locker room and has already had success within the Bears. It's already setting this like, almost like he's this new guy coming to a new school. And this is like an 80s or 90s movie where like the new kid comes to a new school and they're like, there's like a bunch of bullies there, and and they're like, you think you're so cool and you're not, and then we're gonna have a big race down a big hill to prove who's bigger and better, and it's just so dumb. It just shows the immaturity of that locker room, honestly, and to me it highlights the issues and if I was the head coach, I would be like, are you serious? Just shut your mouth. The only thing that should be out of your mouth is I have no idea who we're drafting, unless they already are officially saying like, yeah, you can mention Caleb because it's pretty obvious we're getting him. Then say, I can't wait for Caleb. He is awesome. He is amazing. This is so exciting. If Justin Fields was your guy, you could still say, I'm real sad to see Justin Fields. I truly am. I loved him and I think he's great. And you know what? He is going to prove the world wrong in Pittsburgh. Just wait. And I'm excited to see him. Listen, I think we're going to face him in the Super Bowl, next year or whatever. I don't care. But then praise Caleb Williams. Build him up. Say nothing but positives. Anything short of that is just dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. Imagine all of the successful teams out there with all of the successful quarterbacks. Tell me how many of them have called out those greats. How many of them called out Patrick Mahomes? How many of them called out Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees? They don't do it. The quarterback needs to have unconditional respect, whether he's brand new and a rookie or a 10-year veteran, okay? They are an extension of the coach. That is what it is. They are the leader. They are the face of the team. Even the lower level quarterbacks end up being the faces of those teams. That is the way it goes. He just sounds petty and dumb. And again, part of it was tongue in cheek because if you watch the interview, it is a little bit more tongue in cheek, but it's still a stupid comment nonetheless.
Thursday night, did you survive it?
I like that. What do you think a successful season for Caleb looks like?
Bears make the playoffs.
Okay.
So the 10 wins plus, so a 3-win improvement. He sets the Bears' all-time record for passing yards in a season, which sounds ridiculous, but then I tell you it's 3,838. If he averages 225 yards per game, he sets it. So just context, Sam Howell and Derek Carr last year would have set the Bears record for most passing yards in any season.
Throw the ball.
And
he threw for a
and
ton
so they both threw for right around 3,900. Sam had some big games, then quieted off, missed some time. But so yeah, I mean, and that we leave the season wondering if Caleb is the best young quarterback in the NFC, which right now would be between Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. Brew would probably include Brock Purdy. I would not. That's a successful season. Like that, when I say young quarterback, I feel like Stafford is, nearing the end, and so
totally.
Like he would take C.J. Stroud's NFC.
Exactly.
Sort of
Right now, Jordan. I think most people. I don't know if most people. Some would say Jalen Hurts, some would say Brock Purdy, and some would say Jordan Love. Like that's the young NFC quarterback triumvirate that he joins that, and I think maybe goes to the top of it, depending on Jordan Love could ascend even higher.
What are the other options?
And so that, to me, those are not unrealistic expectations. 3-win improvement, around 4,000 yards, and that he's looked at as one of, if not the best young quarterback in his conference. That's fair.
Well, you brought up C.J. Stroud. I would be stunned if he has the rookie season that C.J. Stroud does. I mean, that was the best rookie season ever.
Well, that's right.
Right?
So he would have to have the best rookie season ever.
And that's obviously a high bar. So I'm not saying if he's not C.J. Stroud, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
No. But what I see happening, I think he will start out fairly pedestrian, all right? But I think and what I want to see if I'm the Bears and what I think is a successful season is over the second half of the year, it starts to click, and you can see it, right? He's more accurate. He's processing better. He's figuring out when to run more and when not to run, and it's really clicking. I had the same number as you, 10-7. I could see them going 10-7 and missing the playoffs. I don't have them making the playoffs, but 10-7, I was thinking 3,500 yards, something like that. But at the end of the season, we feel like, okay, I'm not even going as high as you, like, is he better than Jordan Love or anything? I think at the end of the season, if you're like, okay, he's clearly the guy. They made the right choice. They got their future franchise quarterback. They're good.
That's your bar for success.
I think that's actually a good point because using Jordan Love as an example, because Jordan Love was, well, listen, I think Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love just from a pure talent base, but Jordan Love is in a better position with Matt LaFleur being a truly understanding and mastering offenses. He's a great offensive mind. A lot of times when I always mention the names, I always say like Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Shannon, and I always forget him. He's a great offensive coach, without a doubt. And so Jordan Love being in that situation is great. And that took some time. That took some growing pains. Now, granted, it's also a really young team. And so Caleb has a little bit more, technically more mature, older, players to kind of rely on a little bit, which I think will help him. But the offensive minds are not in that building. Okay, they are just not. Everyone keeps mentioning C.J. Stroud. And again, that they were able to have such success, I truly believe, because of the Texans' OC. I really, really believe that that's a huge part. And C.J. Stroud's great too. So I'm not taking away from, I'm not saying like, oh, he's only played well because of that. But that really matters so significantly, especially from transitioning from obviously college to the pros, right? Which obviously is what you're doing in your, when you're a first year rookie starter, actually, playing. And so I don't think Caleb Williams is going to obviously have that luxury. I think Caleb Williams will have some pretty spectacular moments. And they're going to be like, oh, and that's why now you can see why he was drafted #1 overall. What do you see? They're going to make the cringiest comments. Who did that look like, John? Who did that look like? Are you going to say Mahomes? Yep. Yeah, you read my mind, partner. Like we're going to hear those cringiest things. And then he's going to make an awful throw. And then you're going to have someone like a Troy Aikman be like, I know a lot of you guys watch it at home, can't believe that throw. What you have to understand is that when you're a rookie quarterback coming from college, there's a lot of throws that you can't make in the pros, and it takes time for you to learn that. It takes time for you to understand where the spacing is and the speed and the blah, 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 blah. I mean, I think a lot of people are, it just like, that's what we're going to see. It seems like there's a few groups of people that you're either going to think that Caleb Williams is going to set the world on fire right off the bat, and he's going to be like, oh my God, and the Bears are going to skyrocket to contention, that he's going to be an absolute bust, or that he's just going to be mediocre. And I really think that we can see potentially like a Jordan Love, type of season where maybe it's, and I don't know if it'll be that exact order where it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of a rough start, and then he's able to finally really right the ship. I think he'll have just inconsistent games, inconsistent moments, some games where he absolutely balls out and you're just like, dude, this guy is for real. And then maybe the following game, it's just not that at all. And it's like, wow, he only threw for 189 yards. He had 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions and a fumble. I don't know, and it's going to be one of those things where everyone's going to jump on him. Everyone, right? It's going to be week to week when he has a good game, that people like him, Nick Wright and Colin and Undisputed, they're going to be like, he is the greatest. He is the second coming. And then when he has a bad game, everyone's going to jump on him and be like, listen, is he a bust? Is it too soon to say Caleb is a bust? Is it too soon to say that, the Chicago Bears made a mistake in trading Justin Fields? Like, he's just going to get it all thrown his way. And then fortunately, again, I think he's all but guaranteed to face adversity in the NFL, right? How could he not, right? Everyone faces adversity. And my biggest issue that I've tried to plant repeatedly when talking about Caleb to Chicago is that I don't know if I trust the people around Caleb in Chicago to weather that adversity. And a young quarterback like him needs that. That's what Jordan Love got with LaFleur and the Packers, okay? That's what Patrick Mahomes got with Andy Reid. That's what Shanahan offers to Purdy and Garoppolo, for that matter, although obviously Garoppolo was in a different situation. That's what McVay offered to, Goff as soon as he got there. Also a slightly different situation. That's what Steichen was able to do with Jalen Hurts, all of that stuff really does matter. And as, one of the best examples is Brian Dable and Josh Allen. So I think that's why, we're going to get an uneven year with Caleb, only because I don't trust their OC to be, it's not to say that the Bears OC is bad. I know he's had success and people are talking about how, look, he made Geno Smith relevant. And it's like, I think we're reaching here a little bit. And again, making Geno Smith productive and being, a pretty, average quarterback, good quarterback, is a lot easier to do than to unlock and unleash someone who is as talented as Caleb Williams. Great players need great coaches. And players who can do extraordinary things often need extraordinary coaches to be able to control that. And I've said this now a million times, and some of you are probably sick of hearing it. But again, that's what Andy Reid does so great with Patrick Mahomes. If you just had Patrick Mahomes completely unleashed without an Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes would do unbelievably amazing things, but he would also cost games. He would look more like a Josh Allen in a lot of ways. He really would, because that is what Patrick Mahomes was doing. And it wasn't until Andy Reid was able to really bring him in. And like I always say, that's why you see, that's why you didn't see Patrick Mahomes' numbers just keep going up. That they brought him down and said, you're going to throw less and you're going to check the ball down more and you're going to throw the ball way more. I'm sorry, but you're not going to be throwing for 10,000 yards and 300 touchdowns. It's just, do you want to win? Yes or no? That is Andy Reid's doing. Patrick Mahomes didn't just magically say, okay, that's what I'm going to do now. He doesn't throw the ball down the field as much and as frequently. Those numbers don't lie in that regard. So especially when you don't have the offensive weapons to be able to make it happen. But on the other side, like someone like a Josh Allen, they don't have those weapons all the time, but they still say, hey, we need you to do it because we have no other way to win the game unless you just, keep throwing the ball and, you're the hero. You got to rush for 90 yards. You got to get 2 touchdowns and throw for 2 touchdowns, best of luck. That's what they do. And I'm fearful that Caleb Williams gets some of that as well, so it's going to be really interesting to see, because the last point I'll say is this, and this is a little bit harder because we saw Patrick Mahomes obviously got the City Year. And I think the most recent, really successful starting quarterback campaigns were Caleb, CJ Stroud and Patrick Mahomes, right? And it's not always fair to compare to like a Patrick Mahomes, but these are the most recent, like very quickly success. And we're just going to forget that first year for Patrick when he obviously didn't play. But again, CJ Stroud is with a great offensive coordinator and a great commanding alpha defensive head coach, okay? Which really also helps too. Ask Tom Brady how much Bill Belichick benefited him in terms of being able to read offenses and understand what was being thrown his way, okay? That's what CJ Stroud got. Patrick Mahomes had the luxury of also a great DC, but as well as obviously all other weapons like a Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and all that, but then Andy Reid, okay? That's what led to those two quarterbacks having such amazing, great success so early on. What is the equivalent of that for Caleb Williams? He's not being offered that. So to think that he's going to be able to transcend that and to do things that are so next level, that are so great that, without the other variables that these other quarterbacks needed, right? Like how Josh Allen needed Brian Dable. Patrick Mahomes needed Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones. CJ Stroud needed his, brilliant defensive-minded head coach. Because that's the thing. It's okay to maybe have a defensive head coach, but he better be brilliant, and which he clearly is. And same thing, having a great up-and-coming OC who I said he is going to be on the radar for a head coaching job. No ifs, ands, or buts, without a doubt. All of those things matter. And if you want to say Brock Purdy as well, Kyle Shanahan, his head coach, a brilliant offensive mind with a million weapons, Debo, Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, all of those things matter. Caleb does not have that. Does Caleb have a pretty good team this year, relatively speaking? Yes, he does, right? Better than what Justin Fields had. Does he have technically a better OC than they had in the past? Yes, definitely. Is it on the level of any of these other quarterbacks that I mentioned? Absolutely, positively not. So the only way that Caleb Williams can really be the rookie of, to play even better than a CJ Stroud or even better than Patrick Mahomes did in their first, years as starting quarterbacks, Caleb Williams would have to prove to be the greatest quarterback ever. He would be on path then to just be the greatest quarterback ever. Because then he would have higher levels of success than the Patrick Mahomes without the benefit of having Andy Reid, the greatest offensive head coach, if not the greatest head coach in general of all time. Travis Kelce, the greatest, if not the second greatest tight end of all time. Tyreek Hill, one of the best wide receivers, fast wide receivers, most, exciting wide receivers we've ever seen of all time. So where does that land for Caleb Williams? So that is really my biggest argument. I think he will be successful. I think they can make the playoffs. I don't know, I'd have to look at it a little bit more because I don't see them winning the division. I definitely don't see them winning the division. So then the whole thing is the wild card race. And then it's like, it's always it's a little difficult to predict how many wins you're going to need to get into the wild card. But I'm not predicting that they're winning the division. That I am pretty confident in saying. I'm very confident in saying that. So I do think it's possible that they could win 10 games and not make the playoffs. So that's where I stand on Caleb. I'm excited to watch Caleb because and please don't take this as me being a Caleb hater because I'm really excited for Caleb Williams. I wish he actually, was going to maybe a different team, honestly, but it is what it is. But I'm really excited to see what he can do, and I'll definitely be watching his games, and so I'm really excited to see how this all unfolds. But I just think this idea that he's just going to be able to ball out from the jump, if he does, then that means he is then officially on path to just being the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. Better than Patrick Mahomes. And maybe he is. But, I'm not making that prediction, right? Just like I wasn't making the prediction that Patrick Mahomes is going to be better than Tom Brady or that Caleb Williams is better than, Patrick Mahomes. I'm just not going to just make these random predictions that honestly are just farts in the wind. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So with whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. Either way, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. At any of the other channels, they don't care about what you have to say. They don't even read any of the other comments. They talk down to us all the time. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. They say this all the time. But over here, like, I actually care. I actually read every single comment. We're actually genuinely building a community that we're all interacting with, and it's awesome so far. So I really would love to see you subscribe. And also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.